Hey, fifth grade, it's Sarah Campbell, and today we're going to be doing a value study. So a value study, you can do it in color, but if you have never done one before, it's great to do it and practice it in black and white. So a value is like going from dark or like a color with a whole lot of pigment in it to light, a color with a lot less pigment in it. So if this egg were in color, if you had the values right, then it is still going to look great. Even if you have the colors wrong, but the value right, it's still going to be readable that it is an egg and that it looks, it has some depth and everything. So that's why I wanted to do this. It's a great entry level to learning about values, is to start with just your basic black and white. So I'll kind of tell you what I've got around me right now. I've got my piece of paper. I've got a makeshift ruler. And I've got white and black. And I've kind of made a little pile in between that I'm gonna mix. I've got my pencil, I've got my paintbrush. You guys might need like a cup for water. Also paper towels are great. I'm using oil paint where I don't use a lot of water, but you guys will need to like rinse your brush in between. Like if you want a straight black, then you need to rinse your brush, wipe it really, really clean. If it has any white in it, you're not gonna get that really deep dark. And then of course, paper towel is really important, just like a little crumpled handful. I wanted to show you what a value study with only a very limited palette looks like. So I did this recently. And this is 4. It's white, black, red, and blue. And see how much color and variation and how it just kind of it comes to life a little bit. So I just wanted you to know that after we move on from like just a black and white study, we can add in just a couple colors and kind of experiment with that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started because this can take a while and I want to kind of get through the whole thing. So my first trick for everybody on the drawing aspect is we're just going to make it easy on ourselves. So I want you to take your ruler, look for the 1-inch lines because this is 3 inches. Put your ruler next to it and then do a little mark at each inch. Just do a mark. So it's 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, clearly marked. And then of course do it down here too. 1 inch, 2 inch. You can do it up here and over here. Okay. And then you can just make your line. And see, make another line. Make it as perfect as possible. Mine isn't gonna be that perfect because I made my own 1-inch ruler and it's just not perfect. But the more perfect it is, the more accurate your drawing's going to be for this specific training. Okay, so mine looks like this. I can tell that this is not perfect already. Maybe I'll just do it a little bit more over for the sake of this, but it's really okay. I want yours to be perfect though. So then go ahead and do the same thing for your egg if you can. I can't because it's on here. But what this is going to do, so let me back up. Your piece of paper should be the exact same size as your egg. I'm sorry. Yeah, as your egg picture. So your egg picture should also be 3 inches by 3 inches. And I'll make sure Kathy knows that. Okay, so now compare the two and break everything down into pieces. So I'm kind of looking at mine. Yours, just look at it as though it's a box. So looks like this, and it's a lot easier that way to do your drawing and to do your negative space. If you're just looking at this box, how do you make the right line for that box? And then go ahead and just draw your egg. Let me know how this goes. This is a great way to do it. A great way to just find the right shapes and to find that negative space. Yeah, so I'm very happy with my egg. It looks like an egg. It looks like that egg. And all I did was kind of plot that out. I knew and I saw what this shape looked like, what this shape looked like. Down here, it looks great. Okay, so that's a big tip. Or this is just a great way to break things down. Let's see. So now we're gonna start mixing our two colors. I just want a good kind of medium color in here. These are huge globs. I don't know why I did such big globs. I don't do a lot. I mean, my other colors, I've got the rest of my palette right here that I'm using on a commission. This is about how big I do my colors. I don't know why I did it so big. I do use a little more white than any other color. But like here's my little, I think this is my black. And it's much smaller. I'll have to use this later. Okay, so look, here's a nice medium. So try to get it right in between. And then you can either do, what I'd like you to do is kind of make some pre-arranged values and then take a big chunk of white, bigger chunk. Okay. See how this, each little glob is very different. Like they should look very different. And then as I go darker, I'm gonna clean off my brush. You guys will have to rinse your brush in the water since you're using acrylic. I'm using oil. Usually I use some turpentine, but I'm not gonna do that today. I think I can handle it. Okay, so make that glob a little bit darker. And don't make teeny tiny little globs. Like, make sure you have some paint to work with. You just have to make sure that each glob is a different color. If they look too much alike, go ahead and change it. A lot of people do it in like a straight row. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Okay, so that looks good to me. Okay, so I'm gonna wipe off my brush again. So now I'm gonna look at my egg picture. See, so the best thing to do is look for the absolute darkest color, or look for whatever's easiest. Just find the easiest mass in this case, it's the background, which is almost completely black. So I am just going to make it almost black. Yeah, just a little bit. I just use this as like a starter, and then I kind of work off of that. If you don't get all of your white off, or it may be too light, so always just make sure that you are rinsing your brush completely when you're laying down a new color. So I don't know what this looks like to you, but this is not crazy black, like it's not just straight black out of a tube. I'm seeing just a little bit of variation, and then when I squint, I can see that it's like black out of a tube just right around here, and maybe over here. So I don't want to make it so black that I can't make it any darker, because I know that it's not just flat black. Right. I'm going to try to kind of rush through this a little bit. I don't really want you guys to rush too much, so if I go too quickly, your teacher can just press pause while you guys get each step done. Okay. So another thing that I want to do, I'm going to actually do the entire background right now, this same color, this like off black. I'm not going to worry about getting those shadows in yet. It's such a minor difference. We'll add those at the end. I want you to think in like 2 or 3 big clumps. So squint, and the clumps that I see is this almost black, this almost white area, and then this medium area. So I just want you to break it down into those 3 pieces. Oh, while I'm doing this, I was able to see the Mona Lisas, and I was so impressed, really impressed. All of you guys did a really good job, and like I had said, everybody's looks a little bit different, and that's just like, I just love how everybody's brain works a little bit differently. I just think that's so interesting. It's going to be the same with this. Your egg is not going to look like my egg, and not going to look like anybody else's egg. Right. Okay. blob 1 complete. It already looks like an egg. Okay, now I think I want to go with I guess I'll go with this big one. When I squint, it almost looks white. So I'm going to really clean off my brush again. Well, maybe I will. I'm just going to start with this one. Just because I have so much gray on my paintbrush already. So I'm going to look more kind of in this range. Get some of my paint off my brush. I'm going to mix a little bit more maybe. Let's see if this looks anything close. Maybe not. Maybe it needs to be more like this. Sometimes you just got to put it down and see what it looks like. So when I squint, yeah, sure. It's not perfect, but I mean, there's definitely a lot of variation right in here. So if we're making it into just one color, this works enough. So maybe I'd even draw a little line up there. Again, you can reference your squares, what squares you have left, just to get that, just get the drawing part right. Let's see. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, now you need to definitely rinse your brushes. Oop. Here I go, getting paint all over myself. You might be hearing my kids in the background. Okay, so I got this pretty clean. I'm gonna take a glob of white, mix it. I've got a little gray in there in my paintbrush too. It's definitely not quite white, but maybe I'll put a little bit more gray. See what this looks like. I know that this looks white, but really squint and compare it to something else in the room that is actually super light. So I don't want you to make it just stark white. Make it like 1 or 2 shades darker. And then just cover it up. Okay. Sorry, my kids are, I don't know if you can hear that. My kids are having a Beyblades battle. I don't know if you guys have heard of Beyblades. Okay, so just make sure that everything is colored. Like you don't want any white at all to show. All right. Okay, so I've got this, and it looks like an egg to me. It's really starting to look like an egg. Okay. And definitely put a bunch of paint down, so I can tell that it's going to be a little bit hard for me to mix because I haven't put a whole ton of paint down. So I'm just going to put a little more paint down. Okay. All right. Okay. So it's looking pretty good. And it's just 3. I broke it down. I broke the shapes basically into 3 different values. And I broke it down into 3 different shapes. So you've got your background, one color, this another, and this another. So now is the fun part. We get to start shading. So really look here, and you see how we kind of made this nice dark line, but right in the middle, there's variation between this and this. So we want to kind of make these a little, we want to kind of blend them. Now you can either blend them by kind of using your paintbrush and pulling the dark into the light, or pull the light into the dark. It'll probably happen naturally. Or you can even go up here to where you know that medium color is and do a little bit more. I would drag it all the way up to this top area. See how right here, that shading kind of goes right up to about here. Okay. And then on the other side, it goes up just a little bit to about here. So right in here, it's not quite that dark. So I'm just gonna pull down that light just a little bit and kind of color it in, just being really gentle with my brush. And I'm not trying to force the brush to do what I want immediately. I'm just slowly kind of going over it. And slowly I see the colors kind of dragging where I want them to go. Okay, see how that's much less of a harsh line now. Also, see how this is kind of the darkest spot? It almost looks like a little bowl, and how if you look really closely, there's some what's called reflective light right here, where it just gets a little bit lighter on that outside of the egg. So I just want to bring a little bit, not super light. If it's too light, we're gonna just like spend some time just shading that in. Again, it takes more than 1 or 2 swipes. Just really soft movements work a little bit better. Okay. And then maybe I'll add just a little bit of darkness right here. Not very much. Kind of in a shape of like an acorn top, a little bit. Okay. Bring just a teensy bit back up in there. Yeah. Okay, that looks really good. All right. The only struggles that I'm coming across is that usually I put a bunch of paint down on whatever surface I use, or I buy it with like a gesso already on top of it, so it's a really flat surface, and it also takes the paint really well. So that's the only thing I'm running into using this type of paper, is that I am having to put a lot of paint down. So you guys will probably find yourself doing that too. And the edges, it's a little harder for me to blend everything, but not really. So what I'm doing now is I'm just taking a pretty light, like that light, and just kind of going back through Getting things really smooth, kind of like doing some drawing, basically. Maybe adding a little bit more of that white in certain spots where I see the reflected light right here. Okay. And then I'm going to pull some more off-white on this side too. So it's really amazing what you can do with just 2 colors. And you can definitely, like, if you weren't crazy impressed with your drawing at first, this is the time to kind of come back and work that drawing a little bit more. Okay. All right. Look how beautiful it looks. It looks like an egg. Okay. So now we're just going to add some highlights. I'm just going to go almost straight to the white. I have a little bit of gray still. I'm going to make it as white as I can, but that's not just that. And I'm just going to add a little bit more where I see, when I squint, I really see a lot of white right up in here. Okay. Maybe, actually, I mean, when I squint, all I see is white right here. So I'm going to take it directly from here. And I'm going to take a fairly good amount. And I'm just going to, when I squint, I'm just going to do it probably right around here. Okay. I'm going to do a little more. As you blend, it'll take away from that brightness. So if you want it to stay bright, you will have to continually add more, not drag it too many times. Okay. Maybe I did need all that white. Okay. This is where I want to start getting really careful, is right in here. Because right here, there is still some variation right in here. And then I'm just going to very, very softly do a little blending right in here. Again, especially on just like a piece of paper like this, it's important to just go over it and over it. Okay, oh, that looks good. Okay, I'm gonna look. Now we're just gonna add in, maybe I'm gonna add in a teensy bit more down here of reflective light. I have a lot of light on my paintbrush right here, so I'll just drag it in and then blend. Okay, and then go ahead and clean your brush because we're gonna switch and do the dark. We're gonna do the blackest black, so just straight out of that. And we are going to find this little shape right here, the shadow, and maybe do a little bit more just right around the edges. We don't want to do too much, but okay. Let's see. Okay. So the shadow looks kind of like this, but it actually wraps up here. it's almost totally black. You can either do it all the way black or just a bit less. I'm gonna go kind of just barely around these edges because I do see a little bit around there. However, I'm gonna make my paintbrush real flat just by pressing it, and I'm gonna blend. After I make these hard lines, I'm gonna make them a little softer. I'm gonna take some of that black and drag it out because it's hard to see that. Just make that background a little bit darker. Yeah, that looks great. Maybe I'll just blend right around my shadow a little bit more. Okay. And I can't wait to see them. Let me know, what do you think? Do you guys want to do some more value studies? Maybe we could add some color. Maybe just a couple colors to start, and then we'll add more and more. All right, so, okay, that looks pretty good to me. I might, just depending on the day, want to add more white, but I like this egg just the way it is. I think that, I think it's perfect. So thank you guys again for joining me. I know I can't really get my face in here, but I'm sorry. But next time I'll try to figure that one out. And I am really looking forward to seeing your eggs, and maybe I'll see you this week outside sometime again. It was great to meet some of you guys. And take care. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.